Introducing the new Volvo XC90 with 7-seat versatility, Google built-in, and advanced safety features for all your precious cargo. The new Volvo XC90, designed for life. Visit volvocars.com/US to learn more.
This episode is brought to you by State Farm. Knowing you could be saving money for the things you really want, like that dream house or ride, is a great feeling. That's why the State Farm Personal Price Plan can help you save when you choose to bundle home and auto. Bundling, just another way to save with the Personal Price Plan. Prices are based on rating plans that vary by state. Coverage options are selected by the customer. Availability, amount of discounts and savings, and eligibility vary by state.
When you wanna grow your list size, pop up like it's hot, pop up like it's hot, pop up like it's hot. And when you gotta boost your revenue, pop up like it's hot, hey, pop up like it's hot, pop up like it's hot. Pick your favorite template, you can tailor to your brand. They're MailChimp-erific, you're gonna be a fan. MailChimp your marketing with our new customizable pop-ups.
You see? You're stupid minds. Stupid.
If you just read the bio for Dr. Steve, host of Weird Medicine on Sirius XM 103 and made popular by two really comedy shows, Opie and Anthony and Ron and Fez, you would have thought that this guy was a bit of, a clown.
Why can't you give me the respect that I'm entitled to?
I've got diphtheria crushing my esophagus. I've got Ebola virus dripping from my nose. I've got the leprosy of the heart valve, exacerbating my incredible woes. I want to take my brain out and blast it with the wave, an ultrasonic echographic and a pulsating shave. I want a magic pill for all my ailments, the health equivalent of Citizen Kane. And if I don't get it now in the tablet, I think I'm doomed and I'll have to go insane. I want a requiem for my disease. So I'm paging Dr. Steve. Dr. Steve.
From the world-famous Cardiff Electric Network studios in beautiful downtown OJ City, it's Weird Medicine, the first and still only uncensored medical show. Previously in the history of broadcast radio, but now a podcast. I'm Dr. Steve with my little pal, Dr. Scott, the traditional Chinese medicine provider, gives me street cred with the wacko alternative medicine assholes. Hello, Dr. Scott.
Hey, Dr. Steve.
This is a show for people who never listen to a medical show on the radio or the internet. If you got a question you're embarrassed to take to your regular medical provider, if you can't find an answer anywhere else, give us a call at 347-766-4323. That's 347-POOHEAD. Follow us on Twitter at Weird Medicine or at DrScottWM. Visit our website at drsteve.com for podcast, medical news, and stuff you can buy. Most importantly, we are not your medical providers. Take everything you hear with a grain of salt. Don't act on anything you hear on this show without talking it over with your healthcare provider. Don't forget stuff.drsteve.com, stuff.drsteve.com, where you can get Wet Brain, the game of trolls and losers. It's a fun party game. The production cost is kind of high, so I have to sell it but it is a custom-made game, and if you're a WATP fan, you'll recognize a lot of the artwork. It's from Troy Smith, and they're, caricatures of Carl and Jenny Jingles and producer Chris and people like that in there. But having said all that, even if you know nothing about the Dabbleverse, it is a really fun party game. Maybe what we'll do one night is we'll videotape us playing it. But anyway, check that out, and then also check out roadie.drsteve.com, or you can just scroll down at stuff.drsteve.com to see the Roadie robotic tuner. And don't forget Dr. Scott's website at simplyherbals.net, and check us out at patreon.com/weirdmedicine. I'm putting up old episodes that can't be found anywhere else. And then when we start doing these live streams after the wedding.
The wedding of the century.
Yes, it's less than a month away, and everybody is
freaking out, man.
Freaking the F out, except for the bride and groom and me. So
at least
they're doing okay.
Yeah.
But
that's usually the way it is, isn't it?
Everybody else is freaking the fuck out. But anyway, patreon.com/weirdmedicine. And then if you want me to say fluid to you, mama, or answer some medical question or whatever, and you want to pay for that, which I don't know why you would want to, you can go to cameo.com/weirdmedicine. All right, how are things at Simply Herbal's going?
Pretty well.
Yeah?
Busy. Still pretty busy.
Yeah?
It's up and down. It's
Yeah.
up and down.
But you have the CBD nasal spray back in stock.
Yeah, we've got everything. We get
need
really
to order
busy in the
some.
springtime.
Yeah.
And fall when allergies are a little bit worse. So so we're able to catch back up. So
Yeah, my allergies don't really bother me in the middle of winter and the middle of summer.
Yep, neither.
Fall and spring.
Oh
and
gosh, just miserable.
those Bartlett pears. And
Oh God, the worst.
it sounds so. They sound delicious, but they're evil.
They're evil
plants from hell.
I can see when they turn white, I start sneezing.
Yeah.
And then when they turn green from the bottom up, and right outside our office, our whole parking lot's covered with them. Oh. I mean, our whole
Is that what
parking
those
lot.
are?
Yeah, a lot of them. Yeah, and you can see them from the bottom up. They'll start turning green from the bottom, and by the time they get to the top, and they turn all green, and the
Then
white's
you're
gone,
good.
I'm usually pretty good. So every day I get to look outside and go, oh God, please hurry.
See, there was a legit use for paraquat.
Yes. Yes.
By the way, we had a listener send me a note, two notes. One is an article in Nature, which is not some, namby-pamby, run-of-the-mill,
Right on.
shite journal, because there are a bunch of those out there.
Yes.
But this was about people with leukemia taking energy drinks, and they linked taurine, amino acid, in the energy drinks to progression of the blood cancer.
Oh, no.
And so they're thinking that this amino acid may preferentially fuel these cancer cells. But it was found to, there was statistical significance in the acceleration of the disease progression. So if you have someone in your family or you yourself have leukemia, you may want to avoid energy drinks with taurine until we know for sure what the hell's going on with this. Now, taurine is a natural amino acid. It's found in meat and fish and other things, all things that you're supposed to eat and to be healthy. So, but what they say is taurine promotes leukemogenesis. That is the development of leukemia cells. And when you megadose it, there are taurine capsules, or you're taking a taurine supplement in the form of an energy drink, you're kind of overwhelming the natural balance of amino acids. Now you've got a preponderance of this stuff, and that's why. So,
Fuel to the fire.
Yeah. Now, having said all of that, this was a mouse study. Okay, so we have to be very careful extrapolating before we ban taurine. For cancer patients, we need to hold off until we have human data. Taurine has been proven useful as a supplement in chemotherapy, and there are studies out there that show that taking taurine can protect against some chemotherapy induced toxicity. So. If it were me, if I didn't have leukemia and I had some solid cancer, I might take taurine while I was doing chemo. Maybe it helps prevent chemotherapy-induced neuropathy or other things like that.
Okay.
But anyway, that's I just want to throw that one out there. It was kind of an interesting study, and I can post the link on to Nature on our website, maybe, if you'll remind me. Because I'll forget 5 minutes from now. All right. You got anything before we get going?
Nothing interesting.
Okay. All right. Good. Yeah.
Number one thing, don't take advice from some asshole on the radio.
All right. Here we go.
Hello, Dr. Steve, Dr. Scott.
Hey, man.
How are you?
Good. How are you?
Good to hear. I have a question about Down syndrome, or trisomy 21, to those of us in the medical community.
Yeah.
Why do those people with this condition have a shorter life expectancy? Thanks.
Yeah, okay. So trisomy 21 is also known as Down syndrome. The reason it's called trisomy 21 is because they have 3 copies instead of 2 of chromosome 21. Mm-hmm. That's what it is. Mm-hmm. And so if you do a karyotype, that's where they go in and they find your chromosomes under a microscope, and then they'll pair them together so that you see, 2 pairs of chromosome 1 and 2 and all the way through whatever it is, 23. When you do that, you can see that people have 3 copies of this chromosome 21. Okay. And if you're interested in seeing what I'm talking about, just Google image karyotype, Karyotype, karyotype. Yeah. And you'll see these things. You've seen these pictures before where they've just got the chromosomes all lined up, and they'll go into it. There's a lot of different ways you can do it. One is you can start to induce cells to divide, and then when they do that, all those chromosomes gather together, and then you can look at it under the microscope and then take pictures, and then through sort of a Photoshop-like technique, group them all together. Well, anyway, so that causes the abnormalities that we see in Down syndrome or trisomy 21, with the changes in the epicanthal folds of the eyes. Mm-hmm. Developmental delay, stuff like that. So individuals that are diagnosed earlier in life tend to have a longer life expectancy. Well, okay, what that really means is that if someone is diagnosed later in life, that they've just missed the diagnosis mm-hmm. and missed out on stuff. So, but there are certain health conditions that people with trisomy 21 are more likely to have, like heart defects, and that can affect their life expectancy. And but the life expectancy tends to be around 60 years of age, but it's been increasing over time. And these are all just estimates. There can be people with trisomy 21 that live to be 80 and some that don't make it till 30. And it just depends on how severe their medical problems are. Okay. But that's just basically it. Mm-hmm. So anyway, all right. Let's do this one.
Hey, Dr. Steve, this is D. Bright down in Chattanooga, Tennessee.
Hey, man.
Hey, man, my Patreon membership's just gone dead.
Uh-oh.
No. Up my credit card, everything. I don't know what's going on, buddy. If you could look into it or have somebody look.
Yeah, for a fellow Tennessean, I absolutely will. But and any time that you have a problem like that, don't leave them a voicemail. We're answering voicemails from 2015. Oh, wow. So I'm just going to make that recommendation. Message me on Patreon or send me an email. You can go to drsteve.com and click contact. That works again. So anyway, it's funny, but I think we got him taken care of.
What comes to mind when you picture the perfect roommate? One who comes when you call, one who doesn't forget to lock the doors, maybe one who doesn't steal your milk just a little bit at a time, hoping that you won't notice. At Apartments.com, they understand that when it comes to roommates, a pet can be your best bet. They're easygoing, they eat what you serve them, and they never clog the toilet. And that's why Apartments.com has the most pet-friendly rental listings on the internet. And with instant alerts, you'll know the moment that your perfect pet-friendly place becomes available. Apartments.com has so many features like 3D virtual tours, the ability to save your favorite apartments, and with over 1 million places to rent, you are absolutely going to find the right place for you. Apartments.com knows that moving can be stressful, but by giving you options, filtered searches, and more, they can help take away some of that stress. When I need a new apartment, I will definitely need a pet-friendly choice. So if you guys need a place that's pet-friendly and human-tolerant, check out Apartments.com, the place to find your pet-friendly place. Thanks, Apartments.com, for sponsoring the podcast.
If you went on a road trip and you didn't stop for a Big Mac or drop a crispy fry between the car seats or use your McDonald's bag as a placemat, then that wasn't a road trip. It was just a really long drive. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
At participating McDonald's. This episode is brought to you by San Pellegrino Ciao, a new kind of flavored sparkling water. The kind made with real fruit juice, a pinch of Sicilian salt, and the sparkle of the Italian sun. With no added sugar and just 10 or less calories per can, enjoy. With love, from Italy. By San Pellegrino Ciao now.
This message is sponsored by Greenlight. With school out, summer is the perfect time to teach our kids real-world money skills they'll use forever. Greenlight is a debit card and the #1 family finance and safety app used by millions of families, helping kids learn how to save, invest, and spend wisely. Parents can send their kids money and track their spending and saving, while kids build money confidence and skills in fun ways. Start your risk-free Greenlight trial today at greenlight.com/Spotify. That's greenlight.com/Spotify.
Ryan Reynolds here from Mint Mobile. With the price of just about everything going up, we thought we'd bring our prices down. So to help us, we brought in a reverse auctioneer, which is apparently a thing.
Mint Mobile Unlimited Premium Wireless. How to get 30, 30, bit to get 30, bit to get 20, 20, 20, bit to get 20, 20, bit to get 15, 15, 15, 15, just $15 a month? Sold!
Give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
Upfront payment of $45 for 3-month plan, equivalent to $15 per month required. New customer offer for first 3 months only. Speed slow after 35 gigabytes if network's busy. Taxes and fees extra. See mintmobile.com.
All right.
Dr. Steve.
Yes.
Dr. Scott.
What's up?
PH on. I'm just anyway, got a question for you. I'm in Ohio, and the whole edible thing, they're legal now.
Okay.
So of course, I've been trying them, and
of course,
why is an orgasm on an edible? It's like 1,000 times better.
Right.
I don't even want to have sex now without taking an edible, which of course is probably not a great thing. But why is that? Is it some sort of muscles relaxing? Is it a thing? I don't know. But all I'm saying is, I don't know if it's anybody else. I've talked to a couple friends and they kind of agree. But when I take an edible and I make it happen, it's a game changer.
Yes.
What's the?
This is known effect. THC interacts with these cannabinoid receptors in the brain. It's CB1 and CB2. And those areas are involved in pleasure and memory and thought and sensory perception. Also anxiety. But, depending on the type of edible you're taking, you may have reduced or increased anxiety. But the THC may lower your inhibitions and reduce anxiety during sex. But the main thing is these heightened sensations and heightened firing in the pleasure syndrome. That's why people like to do pot, because it's, for many, not everybody, it's a pleasurable experience. Mm-hmm. And that's because it's hitting those pleasure centers. Well, so does an orgasm. So the two together.
It's like the icing and the cake.
That's right. Research suggests that THC can boost sexual arousal by interacting with the endocannabinoid system, which also plays a key role in regulating sexual response. So now, cannabis use before sex can lead to more frequent and more intense orgasms for women, particularly those who experience difficulty with orgasm. So if you have a friend or if you yourself are anorgasmic, in other words, it's difficult for you to have an orgasm if you're a woman, that might be something that you could consider. And I wouldn't get high as a kite.
No.
Because that can induce other problems, but a small amount of THC might be helpful. But talk to your provider, particularly if you're in a state where THC is legal.
Your cannabis provider.
Yep,
right. When we were in Denver the first time, I went to one of one of those beautiful little stores, the cannabis stores. The dealers were called the bud tenders, so they sent you in to see bud tenders. I didn't come up with it. I thought it was pretty funny. Your bud tender. I'm sure the bud tenders are very knowledgeable people.
I'm sure they are. I went to one of those in Chicago. I think I've told this story. I wanted to just one time in my life, because of all the furtive back alley purchases I made during the 60s, the fact that you could just walk in and buy it legally was something that was on my bucket list. And I hadn't done any THC products in 40 50 years.
Right on.
But I walked in there, and it was pretty cool. But, yeah, they were knowledgeable, but I don't know so much about that. I think that they know what their products are, and they have sort of a broad and, of course, it depends. You know, you could have somebody in there that's a biochemist, and they would know a lot. But, you know, I just said I don't want something too crazy, but I want to feel like I did during the 60s. And she sold me this hybrid stuff, and I took one dose and regretted it
all night
mightily.
long.
Well, I went to bed thinking it would help me sleep because I was kind of jacked up. I was at the Chicago WATP event. It was the first one I'd ever been to, and I didn't really know them that well then. And but that was one of my side quests, was going to the cannabis store, and so, you know, I took it, and I woke up at like 4 a.m. hearing disco music.
Oh, goodness.
Under my room. And what it was, obviously, in retrospect, it was a air conditioner that was making a thumping sound, or, you know, some fan that was thumping. Yes. And I'm like, they're playing fucking disco music down there. And then I started getting paranoid because I had allergies. I think it was in the spring or the fall. And I had allergies, and I started getting paranoid, thinking, oh, God, I've got COVID. I'm going to have to rent a car. And, you know, it was right during COVID.
Yep.
And I'm going to have to rent a car, and they're all going to hate me because I gave everybody COVID. This is a super spreader, and it's my fault. And all this stuff was crazy. And so I packaged it up and gave it to the comedian at the show because I wasn't dealing with that shit. So... yeah, there was no way I could have had intercourse feeling the way I did.
No.
You know?
No.
But anyway.
They should have told you to start with a quarter of one just to kind of ease.
Yeah, that would have been good.
Yeah.
I know better now, but it was bad. Anyway. All right.
Hey, Dr. Steve.
Hello.
Recently, I saw an article that said that mRNA technology had been used by researchers to target the HIV virus in the body, even though the virus was not detectable by other means.
Okay.
And the article then said that, hey, maybe someday this could be used to abolish, get rid of the AIDS virus. But to which, since it was on an email list, I replied, well, that's great. Maybe after we get rid of AIDS, we could get rid of the chickenpox virus and shingles. And the person replied to me, well-meaningly, and said, well, there's already a shingles vaccine.
Right.
Which got me to wondering, given that AIDS and shingles both can hide out, or, the chickenpox virus can hide out into the body in an undetectable way, what is the mechanism that the Shingrix vaccine is using to prevent shingles?
Right.
Since I assume it's not eradicating
Correct.
the hidden virus.
Correct.
Thanks.
Yeah, it's a great question. So I think I found the article that they're talking about. It says efficient mRNA delivery to resting T cells to reverse HIV latency. In other words, latency means, hiding in the body. And it says major hurdle to curing HIV is the persistence of integrated proviruses in resting CD4 T cells. Because, as you know, HIV targets immune cells. That's part of the problem. And if it kills enough of them, you don't have an immune system anymore. And these remain transcriptionally silent in a latent state. In other words, they're sitting there waiting to be activated. And they're not really viruses yet, but they have the potential to become a virus. And it says one strategy to eradicate latent HIV is to activate viral transcription followed by elimination of infected cells through virus-mediated cytotoxicity or immune-mediated clearance. In other words, you have these pro-viruses, virus precursors in the body, in these cells, and what they're saying is we can activate them to make virus, which you'd think would be a bad thing, but then we kill them. So it's like, I don't know, throwing a carrot up for a rabbit in a Warner Brother cartoon, and then have the rabbit stick his head up, and then you try to blow his head off, right?
Something like that.
Elmer Fudd.
Something like that.
Yeah. So we hypothesized mRNA lipid nanoparticle technology would provide an opportunity to deliver mRNA encoding proteins able to reverse HIV latency in resting CD4 T cells. So this is not the same thing as the mRNA vaccines that we've been talking about ad nauseum for the last 5 years. So they're putting these in these nanoparticles and then injecting them. And it said here we develop a mRNA lipid nanoparticle formulation with unprecedented potency to deliver mRNA to hard-to-transfect resting CD4 T cells in the absence of cellular toxicity. Encapsulation, encoding HIV TAT protein, an activator of HIV transcription. Oh, this is interesting. So what they're doing is they're using the mRNA. Remember, that's messenger RNA. So it tells cells what proteins to make, right? Okay. So the mRNA is transcribed by tRNA, transcription RNA, through these mechanisms called ribosomes, and then it's just a set of instructions on how to make a protein. And so what they're doing is going, fuck you, here's the instructions to activate these viruses so they can't hide anymore.
Okay.
It's pretty damn interesting.
Interesting.
So they give it this activator of HIV transcription, and then it enhances HIV transcription in these CD4 T cells, and it enables the delivery of clustered, regularly interspersed palindromic repeats. Okay, so I'll explain this in a second. Let me read this. To modulate both viral and host gene transcription. Okay, so these findings offer potential for the development of nucleic acid-based T-cell therapy. So they're amplifying it by using these short peptide, they're called palindromic repeats. And so they're saying you can't hide anymore. And then we use other technology to kill it. This doesn't kill it. It just says you can't sit in our T cells anymore and wait for us to go away so that you can reactivate. Now, when he's talking about shingles, I believe the shingles virus hides in the body as intact virus. Let's see, shingles. How does shingles hide? Okay, but I believe it's intact particles. It remains dormant in the nerve cells in the dorsal root ganglia. We know that. Let me see. The virus stays inactive in these nerve cells for years, sometimes a lifetime. When the immune system weakens, the virus can reactivate. Well, maybe there is a role for this in that, to get them to reactivate and then kill them all with antiviral medication. Because the Shingrix just gives the body an immune response to that just keeps it down. When it emerges, it just kills it. And but they're not killing the dormant cells.
Okay.
So if we could cause all of the cells in the body, all the viral particles in the body to activate, all of them, and then kill them, then they would not be able to hide in the neurons anymore. And that would be an effective, permanent prevention for shingles. It's kind of interesting.
That is an interesting approach for sure.
So that's fascinating. Thank you for sending that to me. We will keep an eye on that. I think it's a neat idea. People will have the same issues with it that they do with any other mRNA mRNA technology. But if you have someone that has HIV, that you just cause their counts to go to zero. The problem is they have to continue to take those medications. But with this, you now go, okay, we've got your counts down to 0. Let's kill all the remaining viral DNA in your body by activating it all and killing it. So it remains to be seen how this will pan out, but it's a very interesting idea. All right? All right.
Hey, Dr. Steve, I called a while ago about orgasming on edibles. Anyway, though, I don't know if it's a thing or if you screen all of your female co-hosts perfectly, but every single one of them could read the phone book, and I would pay for that. I'm not trying to make moves anymore, but holy cow, every single one of them has the most beautiful voice I've ever heard, and that includes your lovely wife, Casey. So I don't know if it's a Tennessee thing or you just think.
It's the accent.
It's the hillbilly.
Maybe don't watch the video.
It's the hillbilly. Yes.
I'm just kidding. No,
voices can be
lady
deceiving.
Diagnosis of Tacey and who else?
Mel B. Yep.
Lydia. They're all very attractive.
Yes.
All right.
Hey, Dr. Steve. I thought I'd respond to a call you just got about a guy saying that he gets hard while he was driving overnight. I think you misheard him. I think he said he was driving all through his night shift. So he's probably a truck driver. And I can tell you from experience, when I used to drive all through the night, in my 20s, granted, I would get boners.
Oh, yeah. In my
All the
20s.
time.
Oh, my God, of course. In my 20s, right.
But not in your 50s. Or
I
60s.
think I may have, well, anyway. Let's just say I heard of people who might have jacked it while they were actually driving, which is stupid. But
No idea why. It's boring. I'm not looking at much.
Yeah.
Why does that happen? I'm not going to admit to, taking care of that while I was driving.
Oh, okay, see,
It
so.
did keep me awake.
Yeah.
So just adding that to
Until you're done.
Oh, my.
And then you got to take a little nappy.
Yeah, have a cigarette.
Well, it's interesting because sitting for a long time actually negatively impacts blood flow to the pelvis. So that maybe, and so I wondered about this. It is known that prolonged sitting negatively affects blood flow to the pelvis, which should decrease erections. But maybe, particularly when you're young, when the body notices that, it's like, oh, we better flush out the pipes, and that will give you an erection as a, the blood vessels will open up and try to increase blood flow to the pelvis. And when it does that, it'll do it to the penis as well. And the next thing you know, you have, a giant meaty erection. That's the only thing I can think of. You got anything?
Yeah, I was just wondering, is those just the night cycles? Because typically the testosterone will come up during the night and then first thing in the morning, and that may just be what it is.
Yeah, that's a good point. Could be just morning wood.
Normal 12-hour or 24-hour cycle.
Yep.
Testosterone starts coming up through the night. You have erections during the night, and then,
That is true.
Yeah.
That is true.
I mean, that's all I can figure, which makes sense.
I know something else that if you're a trucker and you're on the road that will give you a boner.
Hey, Dr. Steve, it's Lady Trucker.
Oh, Lady Trucker, there you go.
I just want to let you know that I'm still alive.
Yay.
There we go.
Whoop, whoop. Talk to y'all later. Bye.
Yeah.
Well, there you go.
There you go. All right. Let's see here.
I love it, love it, love it.
All right. Let's try this one here. Oh, yeah.
Thank you, Dr. Steve. Thank you for picking up. I really appreciate it. It's good to know that you can call out and you actually hear someone on the other end of the line. I really appreciate that, as I say. Dr. Steve, you've been quite an inspiration to me and my family here in the Tri-area, without making too big a deal out of the whole thing. I've called before, I never called back, but that's all right, because the love is here, and respect, and for all that you've done over the years. You've been quite an inspiration.
Okay, all right. Dave Haynes, ladies and gentlemen. Excellent, amazing comedian. I see Kish is in the Fluid family. By the way, if you want to join the Fluid family, go to youtube.com/@weirdmedicine. You can hang out with us. Hit subscribe and like, and hit the notification button. And when we go live, you'll get a notification. But you also sometimes get free. Click join, but you don't have to pay anything. Just click accept gifted memberships. Myrtle gave out 20 memberships this morning.
Myrtle is a rock star.
Yep. I see the one pun in there. Yeah, Myrtle sent 20 Weird Medicine gift memberships. And look at this. Matthew, Gina Bobina, King, Jumpin' Slash, Larry Ragone, Dave, Sarah. All these people all got free memberships. So anyway, so yeah, check it out. But Kish, I was just watching a video of a group called The Musical Box, and what they do is they do 70s Genesis covers, which are not easy to do. No. The later stuff, the more poppy stuff, a little bit easier to do, but the early stuff, almost impossible. And this was spot on. Pretty much note for note. Very impressed. No. So check that out. Their version of Supper's Ready, which is 23-minute masterpiece of early prog music, is incredible. And then if you want to see another cover band, John Anderson with the Band Geeks are doing all covers of 70s and 80s Yes music. Of course, they're not exactly covers because John Anderson was the original vocalist. But anyway, all right. Thanks, everyone. We'll see you next week. Until next time, check your stupid nuts for lumps. Quit smoking. Get off your asses. Get some exercise. We'll see you in 1 week for the next edition of Weird Medicine.